right. Also want to thank Claudia for getting up early. She has also been a supporter. She was in the first meeting when we even started talking about impact areas in 2020. So thank her again. But then I would like to thank all of you, very importantly, and I want to extend my welcome to all of you as my fellow gender researchers. It's great to see so many faces. It's great to see so many new faces, but also some old faces. So I love it, and I'm happy to have you. I want to start by acknowledging the amazing knowledge in this room. I think this is the biggest group of gender researchers in agriculture, food systems, water, land, and ecosystems in the world. So congratulations for being here, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. As I say, the CGIAR has the largest concentration of these gender researchers, and I think we should all be proud. What we also have is gender researchers who are clearly embedded and working alongside all other agricultural resources to ensure that we actually have gender equality in agriculture and that we make sure that we get tools in the hands of women. We have gender research who understand cassava value chains, who understand genetic improvement, who get animal science and animal vaccines, who can work with technical scientists to find solutions. It is this dynamic that is important. I think this is what makes us unique, and this is what makes us special. And this is where we can get the solutions. It's that combination. It's this dynamic that is important, and it can start with a small seed, which is what I also love about gender research. You can start with a small idea. Several years ago, both when I was working with IMI on water, but also when I was working with ILRI, I was very interested in moving this discussion from gender relations into household issues, which was really what we were talking about, about 10 years ago. It was really the big things that we were discussing. I wanted to move gender to a landscape level. How do you do gender at a higher level? Not just at that inter-household. So while I was at IMI, we collaborated with a group of hydrologists to develop a socio-hydrologic approach for incorporating gender into biophysical modeling so that we could actually understand the implications for water resources and who gets water resources. It was a $2,000 grant, but it showed that you can put gender into modeling. It was great. It also showed the hydrologists that they had to do something on gender, which was also great. When I moved to ILRI, I was again looking for ways we can move the agenda to the next level. And so I got involved with the livestock master plans. Now, these livestock master plans are meant to provide governments ways of investing in the livestock sector. Now, based on research that people like Jemima and Juki and Alessandra in this room did, we knew that women were involved in livestock systems. So why can't we get those investment in the hands of women? So we started figuring out how can we engage in livestock master plans. You think that's easy? No way. Putting gender into a system that's based on herd modeling, it doesn't even have people, let alone it's all about herd modeling, was complicated, but we're working on it. And once we get that, we can get investments into the hands of women. So when I think about these issues and these examples, what do they tell us about the CGIAR Gender Impact Forum? And I want to give you 3 thoughts. And keep these thoughts in mind as you move through the next few days. We need to continue thinking big if we want to have an impact. And we need to unlock the potential of agriculture to be more equitable. We need to continue both to look at the individual. So we still need to do the inter-household, the people, understanding how we can actually up the quality of resources given to women. But we also need to start looking at the system, which is what I was trying to do and what we're still trying to do, and we're doing much better and better. So how can we engage the system and change the system to also become more fair? And that also means how can we leverage the whole CG to do that? So think big. Please think ambitiously. I think we have the people in this room to be ambitious. So let's do it. My second point, we need to continue working with the scientists in the CG within the initiatives to provide solutions. So the whole system can contribute to gender equality. Can you imagine the reach and power if all the initiatives were able to reach women? The 33 initiatives we have, can you imagine the power we would have to change agriculture if we really got those initiatives to contribute to it? I always think that's where the magic happened. It's that combination. It's that combination of the gender research and the agriculture. That's where magic can happen. Last, but almost most important, or as important, we need to continue collaborating with this group. You have the power in your hands. We need to show that we can rise above and have some themes and some understanding. As you'll notice in both of my cases, whether it's hydrological models or livestock models, it's about models, but they're very different subjects. So is there any way that in this group, we have issues like that we can work together and then build a bigger voice on that area? I just use modeling, but there are other issues as well. So can we find gender, youth, and social inclusion themes across the CGIAR that we can learn from? And again, then provide lessons that go back into the CG so that in the next, I'm already looking for the next set of initiatives. How can we influence them? How can we make sure they are there? Each of these are important to the Gender Impact Platform. But the Gender Impact Platform is you. It is the research you do. If you're not here, we wouldn't be here. So please continue doing your great research. And I think you'll see that over the next 3 days, you will see that there is a lot of amazing research. We do have the benefit that we are now expanding into 2 other areas, youth and social inclusion, a logical progression. Nothing wrong there. And I see that the agenda has 2 sessions on youth, but we need to do more. And so I'm very open to any ideas on how we can do youth more and better. We just spent 2 days with a whole group of gender research coordinators from the centers and focal points from the initiatives that you're all involved with talking about it. So we talked about options of actually developing an initiative on youth. That might be something interesting, or even within the platform, having a module that's about youth. And as part of the impact area, since we're now an impact area, we need to understand what we mean by impact. And again, all the intelligence in this room can help us figure out what do we actually mean with impact when we want impact in the CG on gender equality, youth, and social inclusion. So in light of this, I have 2 challenges for the next 2 days for you. 1, help us think how we can do that impact better, how we can make that impact. And 2, how can we find solutions? Okay. Interestingly enough, and Jimmy will appreciate this, he knew my father. My father would always say, you're a sociologist. You're always telling us what we're doing wrong, right? So I always have that in the back of my mind. Can we find solutions? We do a lot of good analysis as gender researchers. We have a lot of analysis by now, but what are some of the solutions? How can we actually move forward to that empowerment, to that actually changing lives? We need to do that. And I challenge you guys all to find the solutions. I think between the talent in this room and the agenda, I know this is going to be an amazing 3 days, and look forward to the collective contribution to being the think tank on gender for the CGIAR and for the larger ecosystem. We have a huge opportunity here. And thanks again for coming, for taking the time, and please enjoy our lovely campus and everything here. Thanks.
Thank you, Nicoline. So the Gender Impact Platform is you and I. I just wanted to include myself in there because she said it's you. Anyway, so I'd like to move us forward. And now we're going to hear from Marlène Elias, who is leader of the Alliances module of the platform. She works for the Alliance of Biodiversity and CIAT and is lead of the Science Exchange Organizing Committee. She has been here for a very long time, making sure that everything is going to work out for your good. Welcome, Marlène.
Thanks, Vivian, and thanks to all our previous speakers. Wow, I mean, I feel already very inspired. We've already laughed, we've cried, we've cracked the nut on how to change our system, how to achieve impact. I would say we've already had a successful conference, but looking forward to what comes next. And I'll just shift the focus then. We all know how important the work we do is. That's why we're all here. But I want to focus on the interpersonal aspect and the interpersonal relations. And just start by saying how happy I am to see all of you. When I've been pretending to be a gender researcher, I've actually been communicating with all of you in the lead up to this, had a lot of interactions. For me, that's been very enriching. And I'm so glad that you're all here, that we're all here, and we'll be together for the next few days. We had a virtual conference last year. We've had a lot of virtual interactions in the past couple of years, but they've been turbulent times. We've had travel restrictions. We've not been able to come together. Some of our new colleagues have never met their peers. So I think this is a really significant moment for us. And that's why we've opted to have this in-person conference rather than going virtual this year. So to not only nourish ourselves intellectually, to improve our research, but to really also provide the emotional, the moral support that we need to do the difficult work that we do. And we know that this happens as much as in the informal spaces where we meet as in the formal ones. So I hope this week will allow for a lot of that, a lot of those informal interactions to bring us closer, to stimulate our imagination, our creativity, to improve our research on this beautiful campus. And we do thank ILRI for hosting us here. I've been here for almost 2 weeks now, and I've enjoyed every minute. So a reminder, the aim of this conference is to discuss cutting-edge gender and social science food systems research, to build our capacity, to strengthen our ties and collaborations among CGIAR gender researchers, and to enhance the quality and the impact of CGIAR research on gender equality, youth, and social inclusion. And I think that the pressing nature of the work we do and the importance of the work we do requires no further strengthening with this group. That's why we're all here and passionate about the task at hand. So the Gender Platform organizes a conference every year. 1 year it's an external facing event, and 1 year it's an internal facing event, and that's very deliberate. So last year we had a virtual conference called Cultivating Equality. And we found online hundreds of our peers working on gender research in food systems from across the globe. And it was a very, very inspiring space. We were able to create new partnerships, to nourish existing partnerships, to learn from people who are working on similar themes outside of the CG, to share our work with them, to increase the visibility of our work. The next conference that is externally facing will be next year, and we hope you'll be able to join us for that one as well. But here, this year, it's an internal facing event. So we are deliberately coming together just amongst ourselves with our CG gender scientists. We do have a couple of friends and supporters here to share research, but also aspects of our research that we might still be struggling with. We still want to get some input on. We want constructive feedback. We want to be able to share resources. We want this to be a safe space so that we can grow individually and collectively. We want to be able to identify areas where we align on our research and be strategic about the gender research we do in CGIAR. So that's what this meeting is about. We hope everyone will feel comfortable. We hope everyone will be providing that constructive and nurturing feedback to colleagues, and that we take this as an opportunity to grow. So you'll have seen the program by now. You know that thanks to all of your contributions, we have a great program. We have wonderful panels, presentations, discussions lined up, also some fun events. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over, give the mic back to Vivian, but wishing you all a really wonderful science exchange. Let's make it memorable, let's make it fun, let's make it inspiring, thought-provoking, and take that with us as we move forward with our work in the days, years, months to come. Thanks.
Thank you, Marlène, for all the energy and the thinking that has gone into the planning of the science exchange. So now we want to switch gears a bit, and we want to get into the youth panel. We have 4 young agripreneurs, Kenyan farmers who are going to share with us their experiences. So at this point, I'd like to invite them to join me on stage. The three young ladies and gentlemen. So as they come, please, two of you to the left and two to the right. So I'll just provide some context. As we have had, 2022 is an important transitional year for the CG as it embarks on a new portfolio to achieve its goals set out in the 2030 Research and Innovation Strategy. And as we've had in its new role as the CGIAR Impact Platform, we as the Gender Impact Platform are mandated to set directions to enable CGIAR to generate maximum impact on gender equality and opportunities for youth. We have youth representatives this morning. So what we want to do as the Impact Platform is to provide cutting-edge, robust evidence and methods and to set strategic directions for current and future research. So to the three young ladies joining me and young man, in the house we have CG researchers working towards gender equality, youth, and social inclusion impact area, and they are looking forward to learn from you and to hear your inspirational stories. So I'll join you, and then we'll get started. So we have she's an she's a passionate urban designer, Toroitich champion, and digital content creator. She's the team leader of the Agri, a company that manufactures and packs natural health and beauty products. So she'll tell us more about her shop. Next to her, we have Jannette, Toroitich. On social media, you will hear her calling her name as Jannette Founder. So she's based in Washington. That's where the current president of Kenya comes from. And she uses social media to champion and advocate for women and youth, food security, and sustainable development goals. She's also been an ambassador for agriculture brands like Yara, Safaricom Blair, which is our and Alpham. She's been nominated for the 2022 Women of the Youth Award. And then next to me on my left, we have Wangari, we may have Sima, very Kuria, the second time she's joining us in the platform. She's the executive officer for global consultancy known as Alpham and Kuria. She seeks to eliminate hunger and improve self-food production. She has a rich background as a farmer, aggregator, and expert in value chains. And next to Wangari, we have Alpham, Gitau, who's the founder and director of Alpham in India. So the company engages in the production of beer and assorted these products with different topics and materials. So welcome to all of you, and we'll get started now. So I can start to my left, Wangari. By the way, her other name is Farmer on Fire. You can look for her on social media. Search for Farmer on Fire. So Wangari, tell us a bit. I've mentioned just a bit about yourself, but we'd like to learn more about you as a young entrepreneur, what you do, and why you want to start.
Thank you, Vivian. I'm so excited to be here. And yeah, so I wasn't meant to be a farmer. My parents had a different plan, work hard, go to school, find a job, and I did all that. And then I grew up in the village and I watched my mom farm, but money never changed hands because she was a subsistent farmer. So I never saw it as a career. So when I came into the city, I'm living okay, you know, following the plan, doing everything I'm supposed to do. But then I was retrenched from my job. I was a project manager for a real estate company. And then now I started figuring out, what do I do with my life? That's when I realized, I remembered my mom had a kitchen garden. And so I set up one for myself, which helped really improve the nutrition of my family. I like the discussions we're having today about women, because there is a direct correlation with women having better decision-making capacities in the agricultural space, because it increases the nutrition of the family and raises the income of the family and the community at large. So when doing that, now my friends, mostly from the city, would come and tell me, Wangari, you're growing your own food. How do you do it? So I'd make short clips for them and tell them, oh, if you want to grow sukuma wiki, this is how you select a seed. When you go to the agrovet, ask for this, don't ask for this. You need to water it 2 liters a day. If you overwater it, this is how you manage that. And that's how the YouTube channel was born, and Farmer on Fire became this global sensation. Yes.
Thank you so much. If what Dr. Jimmy said is anything to go by, then I should be having very many wives, because I'm in the livestock sector. And really, when Vivian actually introduced me or invited me for this session, I was actually wondering, should I be the one talking, or should I actually send my wife here to actually talk, because it's a gender activity. So I run a company called Alpham Fresh Limited, which is a dairy company. And I ran this with my wife, who is not here today because she really doesn't like crowds. I'm the crowd person, so that's why I had to come and speak here today. And I think just like what Wangari said, I think it resonates with everyone in the African context. You're either born in a farming family, or your parents had actually engaged with farming. So it's kind of a common story. And farming is known to be for the ones who have failed in life. Yeah, that is what most of us relate with. And I remember growing up, when my parents used to actually punish us with going to fetch fodder for the cows. That was a punishment. So I grew up actually not liking the farming activities in the family, because one, I didn't see the money coming in, but then number two, we were only engaged with it as a punishment mode. So I really didn't like it. And my parents didn't actually think I would actually be a farmer at any point. But when I was done with my undergraduate at University of Nairobi, unlike many people who would start with employment, I actually started with self-employment first. So I went into the dairy sector, started with 1 cow, grew it slowly by slowly to now 40 cows, producing 400 liters of milk every day, doing the entire value chain. And for me, really, what took me to that space is the fact that my parents did it, but never got money. And I felt like there's something that they actually didn't do right. And having gone to school, having been engaged in different platforms, having stayed abroad for some time and seen how people do their agri-dairy value chains, then for me, it was very key to actually go into it and address the issue. And mostly when you're an entrepreneur and you're going into business for making money, it never works. But if you're going into it for actually addressing a challenge, then it actually works. And from where I come from, there was a lot of actually closing down of farms, because most people who are doing agri were actually very old people. So I thought, okay, this is actually a growing population, and actually there's demand for milk. So that's why I thought maybe this could be an opportunity for me. And yeah, look where we are now. 6 years down the line. Thank you so much.
For the introduction, and you find Alpham on social media by the name Unexpected Farmer. So one of those. So let's move on to Simiyu, Nyambura. We want to just learn more about you, hear about what you do. And while I was speaking to her, I realized that her work fits in quite a lot with the initiative on, this is urban agriculture. There's one initiative. So I really got it.
Okay. As she said, my name is Nyambura Simiyu, and I like to call myself a gardener. I don't know whether I was destined to be a gardener or not, but I've always grown food. I grew up in the rural areas where we were always growing food, and it wasn't something we really thought about as a career, neither did I ever think about it as a career, but I've always been fascinated about food. I went to the university and studied analytical chemistry, and when I did my project, I did it around food. And so food has always been somewhere around everything that I've been doing. So I left what would be my last formal engagement in 5th December 2015, and I started staying home. So I was now a stay-at-home mom, and my family was there. And since I was a scientist and I was always fascinated by how things work, I started wondering how people start businesses and they work. And I figured out that because my husband was gracious enough to give me some money, even though I earned none, I started to try to make it work. And when the money ends, I don't have too much month at the end of the money. And so what I did is started growing food. And so the money for groceries was always there before the month ended. So I didn't have too much month at the end of the money. And I started then sharing it online because I don't know really whether it was, I wasn't doing it for people to see. It was giving me satisfaction. And so I'll grow skuma wiki and I'll say I harvested my skuma wiki and made dinner. Remember, food is always revolving somewhere around me. And so I'll post my meals from the garden to us having dinner to us eating the food that I was growing. And then that's how I built my social media presence as a gardener. And then I joined farmer groups way later. Let's say during COVID, I joined farmer groups around my area because I'm an organic farmer and now I was looking for support. So I joined farmer groups around my area and we start talking about what do you do, what solutions do you have? And one of the challenges that I realized existed was surplus. It doesn't look like a challenge, but there was surplus, and then the other challenge was food waste. And now that's how I started Adol Foods, which is an agri-enterprise that looks at value addition. And so because I didn't have capacity to start processing and preserving this food, I looked at traditional methods that we could use with my farmers, the farmer groups. And now that's how we started processing our food into either sauces and jams. And so we use canning, we use fermentation, we use sun drying, and also we use freezing as a method of tackling food waste. And so that's what I do at the moment. I also do trainings for organic farmers in the urban areas because I believe the urban contribution must be looked at if we are looking at food security.
So now we move to Jannette. She goes by the name Jannette, farm girl, and as I mentioned earlier, she comes from Eldoret. This is the city of champions. All those guys who run the marathon. So let's come up.
Good morning.
Sorry.
Good morning.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Jannette. And thank you to all of you for the inspiring introduction to what you do. I'm sure you found it quite stimulating. So I'd like to move us to the next question. And we want to look at what's happening in the world today. We are living in an era of increasing crisis, and we know that the war between Russia and Ukraine is not going to be the end. There are going to be many more. Well, not that I'm a prophet of doom, but that's the world. So we have the three that we have been grappling with: COVID, climate change, and conflict. And we know the saying that goes, when there is a casting down, there's a lifting up. I'll just translate it to what we normally say, that every cloud has a silver lining. So to our panelists here, and I'll start this time with Alpha, what opportunities do you see, and what are the challenges that you have to grapple with as a young agripreneur in this current era?
So even now, even the groceries are next year, but then getting to that point have not been easy. So like I say, select one And the most understand is that every time you have an increasing number of women to expand at that level, management is at the level of enterprise. So from here I started with doing the farm before I got to the CGIAR. And that people like really about the systems which run for you in place to actually that successfully. So even if I'm not there for the 1 month, everything we done as it's supposed to run for the shooter. So my focus is, like I said, I do this knowledge. My focus is spreading production. So that's what this is. And I'm now going to run the and we have 4 shops that we actually do our own shops, shops from everyone. So she focuses more on the business side of distribution parts and the value of distribution parts and making happy and going to us and And for me, I think as you speak about gender, because our farm, so we have 3 for the farm, quality, and we make sure that we have the babies of the other and for me, I think as we speak about gender, it's not actually, and I see here too that from perspective of I believe women are taking better on how you decide that, of course, your own issue or depends on what is done. And for us, we believe that the more gender sensitive we are, the faster that our so over time, I've had to grapple with issues of, let's say, number 1, climate change, but then COVID came in naturally, a lot of people will think COVID was actually very good. That should actually be actually good. So everyone was home. So we had actually a lot of COVID for COVID from all the people are home. And all of you are home, you need to take together for one C.E.O. So actually for us, we opened the last 2 shops because there was a lot of asking or where and I think one thing that I've learned is quality is very key. And when people understand that really you are not the quality, then everyone will want to come to you and say, we would like to have it. But then quality is an aspect of having to ensure that all the value streams kind of checked in a way that the systems work in every aspect of the work. So for us, we believe that just like Kuria said, when we have consumer value, probably will address it for us. That's what we are doing. Now, moving forward in terms of the next time, I think one of the key things that we develop we got to do as well is issue of and how to be able to address that. We just got a very bad piece from land disease. And I think there is a lack of information on either a lack of information or information that is wrong. And we have also got the past year with FMB, but then we had already considered but then we are still happy. So I would ask the city center or as well to find a way to attend the community. Farmers are facing hard time. Any of those folks we live in our city, we one or very whatever is there. So lack of information. But then just to mind that I think one of the other challenges is very difficult for us to be sure. How do you ensure that you have what you can do to show us? I honestly cannot say another goal and well feel like
Great, thank you. Thank you, Alpha. Maybe later, by the way, keep your questions, just record them. We'll have a 10-minute session to at least, for Q&A for at least 3 people. So let's move on to Wangari. Same question, just looking at some of the opportunities that you have experienced with the crisis and the challenges that also the crisis brought?
Where we were at, we realized that scaling was not an option because there were challenges with rainfall. I come from Kajiado, which is the area. So I started thinking, how can I diversify this problem? And that's when we started doing activities can be done inside a room. Someone was a spare bedroom of their farm and doing that center. We also probably opened up our farm with a family farm in a training center for people to come since we are in the urban area to just that. But then of people in the city have that distribution time to go and do side hustle or education back home. So, but they need that training. It's important for people to be trained for something competition before they go and spend 100,000 on starting a farming bench and then say, oh, premium here. So for us, we open up our doors to offer training for farmers who want to do mushroom farming, strawberry farming, and currently we also do CSM. This was a big thing for us because we want broiler chicken farming, but then we realized it's not sufficient. Agriculture has to be a business. You have to look at your bottom line. I had an order from Christmas and they were buying a chicken for 200 chicken. If I look at my production cost, they were coming with 400 because of high fees. And I was like, that's this is not working. I know for us African farming is, religious, emotional, they're just like, it's okay, just continue doing it. I don't want to have it in the sun and put that in the a way of also combating climate change to make sure that our gardens and landscapes are also really being taken care of. People in the urban areas have this good life of, we don't produce as much to give that story but then we give all their food to the urban areas. Then most of it ends up with waste, then you have landscape. So we need to be more responsible. Just because you have a truck outside picking up the garbage, it's going to be more engaged. So it's like garbage going up and out. We do that as well. As much as we're talking about global issues of carbon emissions, let's talk about ourselves. Don't just give your garbage guy your bag into the cup. Yeah, so then those are some of the opportunities and the challenges.
Okay, so thank you. So thank you very much, Wangari and Alpha. I'll move us along to the next question. And if you have anything to add on the opportunities, probably from your end, you can also just add in your answer to my question. So I want to hear from you, or we want to hear from you, where are the gaps in ensuring that we are able to attract youth to agriculture? Maybe we can be able to learn from your experiences, the opportunities you saw. And as I said, feel free to speak to the opportunities, but also highlight some of the gaps that we have in ensuring we attract the youth. So let's start with Simiyu.
Okay, I think this question of attracting youth to agriculture is a question I've had many, many times. It's a question I've had so many answers given, but I think also the face of agriculture in Africa is not young. If you look at all the agricultural publications, and I receive so many of them, even if you look at websites of most agricultural partners, the face of African agriculture is not young. Just do a quick one, go to your Facebook page, go to the Ministry of Agriculture Facebook page, or even the partners, even CGIAR. The first photos, the face of African agriculture is not young. I'm pleasantly pleased that recently most of the organizations are now online. They have a presence on social media where most of our young people are. A good number of Kenyan young people of 18 years have a smartphone. That's where they spend most of their time. This is an information, it's a generation that values information. But what information are we giving them when we go to meet them on social media where they are? what's the presentation? What's the picture of agriculture when they look at it? Is it something they want to be associated with? I'll leave those questions to the researchers. They are the ones who find data and answer those questions. Is the face of agriculture, does it look young? No, it doesn't. The young people of today, the millennials, want quick answers. They want things that look like they can convert to the goal very fast. Do we offer them these solutions when we talk to them about agriculture? And I think the last thing I would like to ask, do we want to involve our young people only at production? Is it, because I don't want to go to the idea of they don't have land. I think we've talked about that so much. There's no access to land, there's no access to resources. Let's move ahead and ask ourselves, we already know that the youth don't have land. Then shall we get stuck there? The agricultural value chain does not stop at production. There is transport, there's value addition, and more close to my heart is the food waste management. Can we then involve our young people across the value chain as opposed to wanting them to be only at the farm producing the food? And even as we do that, then we grow, because I know we will not leave them. We do not want to leave a generation that does not know where their food comes from. And so at some point they must be involved in production. But before we get there, let's ask ourselves, where can we get them and how do we get to them? I think I'll leave it as a question.
Good thoughts. I can't add much to that, but as you talk about the face of youth in Africa, I was excited when I saw Jannette on her profile page in gumboots. She just told us that she's in heels and a dress today. So let's hear more about from your perspective, and also being, probably you can frame your response in terms of rural women. We've also had a lot about urban gardening and you farming in Yosin Gishu. Maybe you can speak to that.
I do manage my current farm. It's a 30-acre farm. You can imagine how mostly business time. And the business time I do have to go out and use new people. And you ask, hey, what do you do? And I say I'm a farmer. And they go, what? No way. I say, yeah, I'm a farmer. And the farm shows me, what did you study? And you honestly know they do not really want to know where did you get, which level did you get to study to? They even want to know, did you even study at all? And that is the perspective of farmers in our area. So we do need to mentor young people. We're in the era of age pyramid, where people have to stay cool. People have to live the soft life. And that's why I didn't use my social media. I do have my personal page, my Facebook public page on Twitter. I do have some days I take photos of me on tractors, very dirty, and gambling. And the following day I will take pictures of me looking very nice. And that's why we need to change the perspective of farming. We need to drive in the culture that farming is really cool, right? Young people really need mentoring.
Okay, young people really need mentoring. That's where she stops at, but we'll hear more from her as we move on. Either Alpha or Wangari, do you want to weigh in on those gaps?
Yes. Just to add on.
kind of management at that level, but then another or that's where they're kind of I don't know but they're kind of
we want to take a few questions as we take maybe to this about 5 minutes. So do you have any questions? I see one we take from Esther. 2 more chances. Okay. And then this side. Okay. So you can stand alone. We'll take all 3 and then if you want a specific person to address it.
All right.
So,
Thank you so much. It's very inspiring to listen to your stories. And my question is around youth empowerment. What would you consider youth empowerment and how would you measure it if you had an opportunity to measure it?
okay, let's take the second question. Second question. Okay, getting an indication of Esther's. Please introduce yourself. This is Esther.
You can speak.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Manohara Khadka. I am from EB, Nepal. My question or my interest, first of all, thank you so much. All panelists, very inspiring stories. I learned a lot. I want to just learn from any of the panelists about the role of water in entrepreneurship you are doing. Have you experienced any challenges on your business because of not having enough water or more water for production, processing, marketing, just water lens on this business? Thank you so much.
I will stop you then we come back to you. Anyway, I know you can see here there's an echo. Okay. So maybe how you mentioned what is the problem? Maybe this side.
Okay, I think youth empowerment to me means enabling someone to do what they really want to do, if you ask me, not forcing them to do exactly what you think that you want them to do. So I think it starts by finding out really at what point do young people want to join the chain, and then empowering them to do exactly that, as opposed to us telling them, come, let's show you what to do. And then having them do that. They won't do it for so long, but if they really want to do it, if you came to me right now and empowered me to do food processing and waste management, food waste management, I would be very willing to do that. But if you force me to do something I'm not willing, then it will not work. So I think for me, youth empowerment should start from the youth themselves. Find out what they want to do, empower them to do that, help them to do that.
Because of the echo, I think we will have to take your question from Amy. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to learn from panelists about the role of water. Have they experienced any challenges related to water for promoting the entrepreneurship, any livestock or vegetable production? Just, yeah.
So the name is Eileen Chanji. Thanks to the panel, very interesting discussions, conversations. I think I really like the fact that, agriculture has to be profitable and not just sexy and cool. But moving beyond that, there's always been this question of who are the youths? I mean, the African Youth Charter would say 18 to 35. If I go to Burundi, if I go to DRC, they would say from 15. Even though in Kenya, that might be underage. Esther did some very nice study across some East African countries. And the idea was like, you have to be 45. In my country, a youth could even be someone that's 50. So how do you guys define really the youth? So if we need to target the youths, is it more of an age group? Is it more of the age you are? Is it more of the activity you're doing? I was in Kilifi just last week, and this young lady has a child, 19, but she doesn't consider herself a youth. For her, she's already a woman. She has a household she's managing. So when we ask questions relating to young people, she doesn't really identify with that. So how would you help us grapple a situation like that? Because I mean, that's clearly across all the African countries. Thanks.
My last thoughts, 800 million people in the world are food insecure. 40% of all the food produced goes to waste. 8% of all emissions that are affecting our climate come from food waste. Food waste is an issue at the junction of world hunger, climate action, and social justice issues. We can no longer ignore the amount of food that goes to waste, even as we try to address world hunger. Right now, 23 counties in this country are hungry. When I walk in every market, there's a pile of food going to the landfills. And we must look at food waste differently. We must manage our food waste. Those are my last thoughts.
When I started, can you hear me? When I started my brand, I came up with a motto, and it was, be the change you want to see. I am a farmer, I am a producer, and my purpose today is to mentor and influence women and youth into agriculture. And that's why I will tell stories from my farm. Every day you watch the news, and I recently just saw a picture of an old man and 2 little babies, and they were dying of hunger. What do we feel about it? So bad, right? I will continue producing food so that I can show other women and youth that we can be at the front line in producing and taking care of the food security in our country. All of you seated there are in the right places to change that perspective as well. You can do what you can to help a youth who has a dream in agriculture. Yeah, I think you get it. Be the change you want to see in your position, either in a private organization or in the government. We can help each other take care of the food security in our country.
Alpham, Kuria, Jannette Toroitich, Jannette and C.E.O. Thank you very much, and thank you for the very comment. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sure you all need a break just as I do, and we'll get to that shortly. I know our time is far much spent, but allow me to introduce Harriet. Harriet is a co-facilitator, though visually. We'll soon find out what that means. She's going to tell us about some of the fun activities that she has prepared for us, and this will enable us to start to see our work collectively. Welcome, Harriet, for the next 7 minutes. 5 to 7.
You help me put my pictures. So, hi, I'm Harriet.
Presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a very quick introduction. I'm coming to this week to be with you as a visual practitioner and to introduce some visual thinking into the workshop. But my background is also in social science and in agriculture. So I'm really interested in the work that you're doing, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more over the next few days. Because I'm a visual practitioner, I have some pictures to show you on my PowerPoint about how we're going to use how we're going to introduce some visual thinking into the workshop. So I just push. Okay, wonderful. So a little bit of visual thinking to complement all the science at the Gender Science Exchange. Why, what, and how? Why? Well, the Gender Science Exchange, it seems to me, is providing a really fantastic opportunity to share information and find ways of working together. But as I've seen from the agenda, there are many, many different sessions and many, many presentations. It's very exciting. And I think each one of you here is a really interesting and important part of the big jigsaw which makes up CGIAR gender and social science research. So my aim over the next 3 days is to create a shared space where we can pause, reflect, and consider the big picture of who we are as a group, what we're doing, and where we're going. What are we going to do that? Well, one of the most powerful tools for group thinking is a metaphor. I'm sure that even if you weren't aware of it, you've all used metaphors as part of your work. The journey is a very common one. We often sit down and we think about our goal, we think about how we're going to get there, who's coming with us on the journey, what the milestones are that we're going to pass on the way. In our case, as we're all working in agriculture and food systems, and as the theme of this workshop is rooting for impact, I thought it might be interesting to work with the metaphor of a farm, something we all know very well. So think about if CGIAR gender and social science research was part of a farm, the big farm that's perhaps our one CGIAR. And if all the work that we were doing, the research that we're involved in, was plants growing in that farm, what would the farm look like? Over the next 3 days, with your help, I'm going to create a picture of this farm using the metaphor to think about who we are, how we're doing, what supports us in our work, the challenges we face, what we're harvesting, what the impact we're seeing already, and what the impact we want to see is from this farm, and where we want to go in the future. You can see there's a little platform in the middle of this farm, and one of the things to think about is how our platform fits into it and what their role is. I hope that the metaphor is going to help us think creatively, find some new insights, create a shared understanding, which brings together all that we're learning in the different sessions, and that it will be a space that you can come to stop, think a little bit, and have some fun over the next few days. So how are we going to do this? I have got a short exercise for you before you go to your coffee break. To start the process, I thought that as this is our first day together, some of you may not feel that familiar with what this farm might look like. You've come from your own individual project, and I think you're going to get a better idea over the next few days that's going to help us build the picture. But for today, I thought we could concentrate on you and your own research. So I'd like you now to imagine the research that you're involved in. If it was a plant growing in the CGIAR farm, what would it look like? Maybe your research is still a little seed. Maybe it hasn't even germinated yet. Maybe it's a great idea about youth in agriculture. Maybe you feel like you're still a seedling, you're getting going, you're beginning to root. Maybe your plant is more mature, or maybe you're ready to harvest. You have something to share. Maybe you feel like your research is a big mature tree with lots of branches that has already borne fruit and is going to fruit again. And if you're not involved in a research project, like our visiting friends, think about this farm and how you see yourself. Maybe you're a butterfly that's here flitting from flower to flower, having a look at what's going on. Maybe you're the watchman chasing the monkeys away from the farm. But have a think. Maybe you're the monkey, I know. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. This is a 2-minute exercise to start us off. If you look in the middle of your table, you'll find a piece of green paper. So that everybody can take a piece of paper. There are a few crayons there if you like to play around with color. Has anyone got a clock to time? I'm going to give you 2 minutes. And in those 2 minutes, I'd like you to draw yourself on this farm or your research project on this farm as a plant. And if you're not involved in a research project, you can be whatever you like. So some things to think about. What kind of plant are you? Are you healthy? What do you need to grow? What have you harvested? Be creative, be as creative as you want. And you can use words next to your picture to tell me why your plant is special. Okay, your time's starting now. I'm giving you 2 minutes. It's okay, I was just getting my time on. Okay, you've got 30 seconds left. If you need some words to explain your picture, you can write some words underneath. Fantastic. Right, your time is up. Right, now, what I'd like you to do now, take your piece of paper, and I want you to look around you and find someone who you don't know, who's nearby, someone who you haven't met before or you don't know very well. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to introduce yourself and tell them about your picture. Okay? Ready, steady, go. Find someone you haven't met before. Janet, do you want to tell me about it? There's some farmers there. I have to sort people out. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Woohoo! Woohoo! Time for tea break. Oh, I need like a bell to ring, I think. Okay, if everyone can sit down for 1 minute. Hello? Vivian. Hi. Okay. Hi. Okay, you can continue your conversation very soon. I'm just going to wind up here. Thank you all very much. I'm glad that the pictures are looking really good, and I'm glad they're generating some discussion. If I can ask you to leave your paper on the table, and I'm going to collect them all up, and your pictures are going to be the beginning of a big picture, which we're going to create outside the door, okay? I'm going to be working on the picture during the day, and then we're going to come back to it tomorrow and see how far we've got. So I'd like to ask you, I can only create this picture with your help, so I'd really like everyone to come and say hi to me when you get a chance during the breaks, introduce yourself, and give me your ideas about what needs to go into this farm. And I'd also like to ask if I think each session has got a rapporteur. So rapporteurs, when you've finished your sessions, if you can just pass by and tell me if there's anything from the session that needs to be recorded on our farm. Fantastic. Enjoy the tea break or the photo, which is now. Yeah. And we'll return to the picture tomorrow, and I'll have another exercise for you then.
Thank you, Harriet. I'm sure that was fun. Let's appreciate her. So before we go for tea break, a couple of announcements. After tea, we are going to move into breakout sessions. We have 2 rooms. One group will stay here, check in your program. One group stays here. This is the JVC, where you see JVC. This is here. Then we have Ndama Lounge. Ndama Lounge is where we have the tea stations, you'll go straight ahead, just past the bank. Okay, you'll find your way around. Then we have washrooms for those who need to use those. I'm sure with all the feeding, we'll soon be heading there. So if you use this door, it's the door you'll see first. The other building, the opposite building, you'll see a door, one for the gents, one for the ladies. Then other announcements, we have 3 bulletin boards for you. One has 3 fun activities, and Marianne will let us know what the activities are. You need to sign up for the activity that you want to undertake. You look at the costs involved for those whose travel plans will allow for it. Marianne? So you'll go to that bulletin board and find out whether you want to engage in any and sign up. We also have a parking lot. That sheet over there will be, sorry. Parking lot, any issues that you want us to address, we'll be checking frequently, just write it on that board. And on the, where's the other one? Yes. On the far at the back, there's a 3rd one where a couple of us are organizing side meetings and announcements. So if you need colleagues to join your side meeting, please put it up on that bulletin board. So now, maybe before we go for coffee and for the photo, we'll go for the photo first. And Nathan will be out and Joshua. We are going to the main reception where you came in through. The main reception just before you come into the building. I am missing an announcement. I don't know what it is. Yeah, for lunch, please make sure you wear your name tag so that you can be able to have your meal. Otherwise, you'll not have anything. Tonight, we have a cocktail. Can I hear some rejoicing? Anyway, so it's at 6 p.m. and there'll be buses to pick us back to our hotels after the cocktail. So I'm making these announcements because we are moving into the breakout groups for the rest of the day. So we will basically reconvene later in the evening at 5. So let's go for the photo at the main reception and then tea. Okay. Okay, so it's okay. Okay, so we were trying to make arrangements to have us not go to the reception. So I understand we'll take the photo outside. So don't go to the main reception, just go outside to the grass. You'll find some tables. Nathan will be there to just get you in order for the photo. So not the main reception.
And to answer the question about what time? Hello. At 1:15, the sessions will start. You can't give people 10 minutes for a break.
So let's move on for the photo. We need evidence that you are here. The grass outside, just outside by the grass. Leave your papers on the table, the green papers, please. Harriet would like to get that information. Get people out. Let's go. Please, let's go for the photo. Doreen, I'm blacklisting you. Yeah, hi, let's go for the photo. Hi, how are you, Margaret? Are you coming for the photo? A call. Okay, okay. Let's go for the photo. Yeah? Yes. Yes. End the stream. Yes. The next one is to the next stream. Sarah, hi. Let's go for the photo. Fine. Let's go. Good. Alessandra.